Welcome to Whiskey's a Journey. My name is Peter Faustino. Today is Friday, and I have another Battle of the Bottles coming at you. I have random samples in my sample pool. I just pulled these two out randomly. They could be anything. I'm a whiskey promiscuous channel, so they can be Scotch, rye, American whiskey. They could be just basically anything. International whiskeys, you get the idea. So I selected these. I'm going to pour them. I have them noted on the bottom, so I have an idea of what they are. You already know because of the thumbnail, but I am going to nose them and taste them, let you know what I think of them, and then figure out which one I like the most, and then reveal, well, that one's really dark, reveal what I've been drinking and act like I'm shocked. So what's going on here is I'm thinking bourbons, just the way that I'm smelling them, and they smell very sweet and they smell very strong. So let me go ahead and start with my glass on my left, taste it, and let you know what I think. Before I do that, just do me a favor. If you end up liking this information and you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor and subscribe to the channel. Turn that bell notification on because I produce videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And look in the description below. I have a giveaway happening, the August giveaway. All the rules are in there, so if you're looking to support the channel, you can go ahead and do that if you feel like it. All right, here we go. That smells kind of like a rye. It smells piney. Smells very sugar forward. Has a little bit of a grape note as well. Very oaky. It has very intense aromas. Boy, it's all over the place. Now I get a ton of vanilla. A little bit of tobacco and chocolate as well. Boy, this is crazy. It almost gives me a feeling like it's the barrel seagrass, like there's a whole bunch. You know what? I wonder if this is finished. There's a whole bunch of notes in here. I wonder if this is finished. Because it doesn't smell like your typical bourbon, but it does smell like a bourbon or a rye. Boy, I'm all over the place. Let's go ahead and get it on the palate and let you know what I think. Ooh, that's good. It's sweet. All of those notes that I was getting on the nose are coming through, and boy, is it warming up my chest. I think that might be pretty high ABV. My mouth is watering like crazy. Vanilla, grapey notes, very sugar forward, lots of oak, chocolate, tobacco. Well, that's good. And man, it is radiating in my chest. Yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be a little bit of a high proof matchup. So let me go ahead and get a rinse. I like that if I haven't said it already. Let me get a rinse of water and move on to glass number two. All right, glass number two, as I was pouring it, looked much darker than glass number one. I don't know if you can see this, but glass two definitely looks darker. And just to let you know, as I'm switching camera views here, let me know if you notice anything different with the quality. I ended up getting the Canon R5 Mark II, and I swapped that out with my Canon R5, which was my main camera. So now my Canon R5 Mark II, the R6 Mark II, and then I put my Canon R5 with my 50 millimeter 1.2 over here. So let me know if the quality is any different, if switching the cameras is too much or not. This smells like fruit punch in the best possible way. It's a fruit medley. I think it's also a pretty high proof as well, stinging the nose a little bit. And just like all of the oak and vanilla notes that are coming out of this, are coming out of this as well, with a whole bunch of chocolate. These are very similar. I'm just venturing a guess here. I think I put these together because they're high proof finished bourbons, and I think they are definitely bourbons. Wow, it smells crazy. All right, let's go ahead and get this one on the palate. A little bit softer than glass number one. It coats, but doesn't linger, if that makes sense. Those notes come and go rather quick, but everything that's there is pretty good. It's like a fruit medley with good. Okay, there's that radiation again of that heat. The oak notes are calmed down a little bit. The barrel tannin on the side is a little bit more. It's drying on the palate. That could just be the second sip coming directly off of this. So when I go back and forth, I let my palate calm down a little bit. This has more intensity. This is a little bit more well-rounded. The saturation of flavors that I'm getting from glass one are a little bit more than glass 2. I like them both very much, but my initial reaction here is I like glass 1 more than glass 2. The finish on glass 2 is a little bit shorter than the finish on glass number 1, but I would say that they are a little bit similar in flavor profiles, or maybe they're the same type of finishes if they are finished, which I that's kind of where I'm going. So what I'm going to do is take my time with this, just off camera. I'm going to go back and forth, taste glass number 2, go back to number 1, rinse in between. And then when I come back, I'll have my finishing thoughts and then reveal to myself what the bottles are, grab them off the shelf so I can review them a little bit, remind myself of why they were here in the matchup, and then we'll call this video good. We'll be back in a little bit. All right, after going back and forth a couple of times, this is a very interesting matchup. The initial notes that I got on both of these kind of stuck around, and I had mentioned that the finishes on these were pretty quick, like the flavors hit my palate and then disappeared. I think they may have to have had time to saturate a little bit, because right now I'm going to say both of these have extremely long finishes. And as I'm going back and forth between the two, a bitterness, an oak bitterness or an oak tannin bitterness showed up in both glasses. Makes no difference if I went from glass 2 to 1 or 1 to 2. That bitterness started to rise a little bit, and not a big fan of that. But all of the other notes that are coming out of each of these glasses are pretty good. I like it a lot. There was a melon note that showed up in glass 1 that wasn't there originally. Leather, tobacco, chocolate, vanilla, and a good amount of spice. The more that I drank this, the spice elevated after each sip. Glass number 2, again, that bitter oaky note, tannin came through. This is a fruit bomb. I ended up getting chocolate, tobacco, vanilla, leather, red grapes, long finish. So I'm a little bit torn. I like both of them. I can see how I would reach for one of these depending upon how intense I would want those notes. The melon note is so much different than the fruit notes that I'm getting. So again, that could also be a determining factor in the mood that I'm in. Sometimes I would be in more of a red fruit, like a plum or a red grape, maybe a little bit of a red apple. And sometimes that melon note is such a unique note that I get in whiskeys every once in a while that I might want to reach for this. And again, it could also be on a daily basis. My palate might just be picking up on melon today, and in the future, it might not. That's the beauty of drinking whiskey. You get different things at different times depending upon your mood or what you drank or what you ate. So it's interesting that I'm getting the melon here. It's a tough decision, but what I'm going to actually go for today is going to be glass 2. As much as I liked the initial notes of glass 1, I think it kind of turned a corner in glass 2 with those plum notes, the red grape, the tobacco, the chocolate, the lower amount of spice. I think I'm going to lean towards glass number 2. And especially after the spice started to elevate in glass 1, I think it kind of got a little bit out of balance. So that's where I'm at. Glass number 1, let's go ahead and reveal what it is that I've been drinking. Glass number 1 is, holy cow. So glass number 1, Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend. Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend was and is one of my go-to bottles that I really enjoy quite a bit. So glass number 2 beat this out, which is going to be Angles Envy Cask Strength. This is the 2023 version of the Angles Envy Cask Strength. That is crazy. I think I did this in a blind tasting, and I think the Joseph Magnus beat out everything that was in that tasting. So Angles Envy 2023 Cask Strength is beating out the Joseph Magnus. Let me grab these bottles off the shelf because I want to, oh yeah, they're finished. They're finished bourbons. Let me refresh my memory on what the finishes are, what the proofs are, and what I paid for them. And the Joseph Magnus comes in different batches, and I'll let you know what batch this is as well. Give me 1 second. All right, so the Joseph Magnus was over here, and then the Angles Envy was here. Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend was batch number 165, and it is a straight bourbon whiskey finished in Armagnac, sherry, and cognac casks. I paid basically $200 for this. And then the Angles Envy was much more, $299.99, a little bit more than $300 when you put taxes into it. And then it's very difficult to read, so give me a second. Straight bourbon whiskey finished in port wine barrels. Port wine barrels. So maybe that's why the red fruits were coming out in glass number 2, because the port wine, I think, has that red notes. I'm surprised that I didn't get any of the raisins, dates, figs, and plums in this glass. So let me know in the comments down below if you have had either one of these. Which one do you prefer? All right, I think that is, oh, the proofs. I got to look for the proof on this. So the Angles Envy was 59.1% ABV, and the Joseph Magnus was 60.01. So relatively similar in proof points. And again, I think the reason why I put this in here is because they were finished bourbons and they were very close in the ABV. All right, I've rambled on long enough. Like, subscribe, share, do all those things that YouTubers ask you to do. And until the next time, wherever you are at in your journey, I hope you are enjoying it. And it's been a while since I have done a blend, so this one is for you, Tony. Cheers, everybody. Flattened out the nose. It does smell a little bit sweet, like cotton candy. Let's get it on the palate. It's not bad, but I think that bitterness, and obviously it needs time to meld together, but that bitterness is now elevated, has a lot more spice. My initial reaction is, I would skip this. So that's all I got for you. Talk to everybody later. Bye.